Did I say that correct?
Yeah. Oh, okay, now I get what you're saying. It shall be unlawful to bury within the town carcass or part, fowl or bird which is died or been killed within the city.
Deposit in any streets, parks,
Why
public
is that?
places.
I always sound like we're repeating the same thing again.
Public places, carcass of any animal.
Okay, no, the second one is to deposit, which means...
Wait a minute, I'm sorry.
Oh, now I see where I shouldn't have moved that.
See if we've got it right here. It shall be unlawful. You probably already said it this way, and I just didn't hear it properly. It shall be unlawful for any person to deposit in any of the streets, parks, public squares, or places the carcass or part of any carcass of any animal, fowl, or bird within the limits of town. Okay, all right. There we are specifically identifying streets, parks, public squares, and public places within the limits of Marlington.
I think
We are excluding private property.
I don't know. Actually, after looking at this, we might have to put the private property in back there and then suggest, because this is saying to deposit, and then later on down it says unlawful to bury.
Oh,
So we may have to reword this whole thing totally.
Well, all you have to do is say deposit or bury.
Or bury. Okay.
Yeah. So make that little grammatical change there on that.
They got a lot of extra time in that, so.
Okay, so strike this one down here.
I'll tell you what, to get rid of a dead animal appropriately is quite difficult, especially when it becomes to be a horse right now.
Oh, I bet.
And that's nationwide. PETA has prevented that now. Can't even use them for dog food. Send them to Canada. Responsibility for them. Okay. I see a. Okay. Oh, okay. Anything else there?
Because we struck some of those already the last time.
I'm up to section 3:111.
Okay.
Most recent thing that I thought of. This is the part about the poisonous snakes.
Okay.
I could see a second sentence, period. It shall be unlawful to keep in your possession poisonous snakes. Any poisonous snake. Any, well, that's really, you're saying it. You don't have to use the word any.
So maybe make this like 2 and then make 2, 3. It shall be allowed to keep.
You know, either way, whether you want to make it a second sentence of number 1 or make it 2 and then the violation make it 3. I don't know that it makes any difference one way or the other.
Okay. Poisonous snake.
Have you got it written there?
Those which are currently grandfathered in.
Thank you. I couldn't remember if that got written in there. We've got 2 places that were agricultural based property that.
Right.
I think everything else, I think we've covered everything from here on out.
You think we had?
Yeah, because I think this is where we stopped that one time.
I couldn't, that's what I couldn't
then,
remember. I didn't make a note.
Right down here, this is where we took out the whole 1 mile thing and then just put the limits. So in 3-112.
Okay, well that 1 mile was just in the one we just previously read, right?
And that was the one that we had steps.
Do you want to go continue on to hear some of the other stuff that, we got, let's say we've got 15 minutes. She's got a meeting. So let's go ahead and use that.
Yeah, there was one thing that somebody had asked me, and it was about boarding horses within the town limits.
I'm sorry.
Boarding horses, or even overnight within the town limits. The current ordinance isn't very clear.
I didn't know there was something against it. That's a good point.
Well, there is.
And we also were supposed to bring up the thing about the horses, because I remember I had talked to a horse owner who said they would rather be riding through town.
Oh, yes, we
Or
talked about
their
that, the
horse.
safety factor, right.
Rather than pulling it through town, because they said that they have more control if they're on the horse as opposed to pulling it, leading it through
Now, I
town.
actually talked to another horse person who said they would never, without the proper shoes, walk their, or ride their horse through town.
People who
Because
trek, yeah, they don't
they
like
can
to do it.
They can slip, they can fall, they can freak out, and she said she would just never do it.
Most who are carrying don't do that, but like she said, some others that would like to ride, but we're only, but there again, we were only talking about to the trail, were we not? To a destination point
Yeah, I thought.
Where is
that
it?
Done at
from
one-
219 to the trail, or
I
whatever.
thought we changed that back when Joe was working on this.
Oh, here it is, riding of tame animals
Where
in
we at?
town. Section 3-202, page 13.
202. 202. 202, okay.
It says, it shall be unlawful to ride any horse, mule, or other agricultural animal except as described in section 3-201-3 within the town of Marlton. All such animals and riders needing to traverse the town of Marlton from US Route 219 to 10th Avenue and from 1st Street to 12th Street must be walked. All excrement of such animals must be cleaned up immediately. This section also applies to animals attached to drawn conveyances. This section does not apply to animals being ridden on the Greenbrier River Trail as long as they remain on the Greenbrier River Trail. That's the end of that.
Well, I'm not a horse rider or lover.
I don't know anything about horses either. That's why it was
I mean, I do
sunny.
know that my boss, she
Well, yeah,
she does, and she has made the comment about that she wouldn't do, long term,
Mhm.
or long distance on the asphalt without the appropriate shoes on.
Right.
She said that is a problem. Secondly, being on the asphalt and then on the Greenbrier River Trail, see, that's where it becomes a little touchy. And it's a safety issue, but it's also state park. But I've also heard the other comment too about having control of the animal while you're sitting on it versus,
Walking through the town and getting spooked. Like they weren't, they just said that, yeah, we could lead our horse through town, but if something spooks it, it's much easier to control it from sitting on top of it than it is
versus holding the
versus
reins.
holding onto it.
I really don't
I don't
know.
know.
All I know is that whenever a 1,500-pound horse says, "Yeah," you're gonna go flying through the air.
The only one I spoke to was Sonny.
Who did you talk to?
Sonny Gibbons.
Oh, okay. I thought
Mine
that's
was
who.
my neighbor Mary.
Because,
Mary,
Sonny-
okay.
Sonny is involved with the horse community, and she's a trainer and all.
All right, well, I'm gonna, based upon what you all have said, I'm gonna go with him. I even,
Okay.
Yeah, the thing with the horses in town, the overnight. Now, I know that there
Yeah,
was.
that's not covered at all.
if we haven't got a rule against it, it's legal.
Well, there's something there, and in fact,
Do you know where it could be?
I actually did find it at one point.
You did?
Back when,
Not
not in here.
Oh, not in here?
No.
Some other ordinance?
This is, yeah, and this came up, I believe you were here. It came up at a council meeting maybe 4 or 5 months ago. There was a complaint that somebody was keeping horses in their backyard, and of course all the noise they make from the neighbor. It was like,
Nope. I must have not
maybe
been
you
here.
weren't, maybe you weren't here.
I've missed one in the last 6 months.
A dentist had taken care of whatever happened.
Well, that was pre-June then.
Yeah, so it was this spring.
I don't recall that.
And people were talking about, well, there's an ordinance against it, and then it was after that I went and looked it up and found that it was kind of, there is, but just the way it's worded.
Is it a noise
something,
thing?
No, it's about keeping horses in town. It uses like those words instead of anything specific. But
Well, let's back up to our agricultural.
Yeah, that's probably what they're looking at.
Let's see, that's the only thing that
okay,
is, how is it actually worded here? I thought we just actually had it
Keeping
there.
of certain animals. It shall be unlawful for any person
Where you
to
at?
own 10,
Huh?
3-111, page 10.
3-111.
It shall be unlawful for any person to own or keep any agricultural animal or fowl within the corporate limits of the town, except those kept for sale by lawful businesses for agricultural purposes only. And then we have added those which are, and those which are currently grandfathered in, which is.
oh, well, you
Okay.
know what? I think that covers it.
no permit,
Okay,
just so
well-
you can't do it.
Yeah, based upon this, you can't do it.
Yeah, but
Right.
that,
The circumstances, if I remember right, it was not the person's home that they were at, they didn't own them, it was some friends who came to town, and they tied the horses up at this person's house. So according to this, you can't keep them, whether you own them or not.
we're not supposed to have any agricultural animal in town housed.
Okay.
And there are people who do it, and I know they do it, but not supposed to.
Well, as long as it's addressed.
It's addressed, it is, I mean, it just says to
We
keep
won't-
it.
we won't get
It
into
doesn't
the
say how
enforcement.
long, it just says to keep. And that's always been a rule, I don't think they've ever, I mean, so, as all.
The agricultural thing has been on the books for a long time.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
all my life it's
I
been.
mean,
on
ever
the
since
books.
I came back from, in 1969, I knew it was on the books because we always questioned, why did that lady have the goat over there?
Well, I always question
Well,
that.
it was easy, she was keeping the grass down.
And do we have something about grandfather?
Those are which are currently grandfathered in, and there's only 2 that are grandfathered in.
That we
that's-
are aware of.
That we are aware of, that would be ways.
See, the only thing
and-
that could happen is with any annexation. That would be the only other thing that, where this would come into play.
Well, we could change it if we were to annex.
Well, that's what I was wondering.
Okay. Then I think that's covered then.
All right. I think that was, other than the horse thing, but you said you're going, okay.
Okay,
so-
well, let's go ahead and
I
quickly